I think it just started with me hearing it. I heard it on the TV. I have been told, and then I easily get stuck with ideas. So I had this idea that it was just the way it should be. I was 5, I think. Yeah. Yeah, very stubborn 5-year-old for sure, and 25-year-old. People always talk about it as a choice. I always felt like it was the direction I wanted to go in, and then I was very open for wherever that would lead. I got asked before if I ever chose. When did you chose to work with music? And I don't think I ever did. I feel maybe working in a big orchestra and being a small part of a big organization is very different from what I think music is doing in society. I read that you sometimes divide society into 6 layers. And there's different speeds in these layers, and the slowest one is nature. The fastest one is art, because it's innovative, it's experimental. And then we have tradition and culture, which is next to nature, and in between there is like government, all these laws that takes a bit medium time. And putting tradition, like the slower things in society, together with art that is very fast changing and very experimental, can be a challenge in big organizations. I think I change tempi very fast inside, and I feel like it's allowed in what we do. Because for me, making music and making music with others is almost it's a very ego thing to do in a way. I can feel what I feel is right, and that is somehow. I always struggle with the thought of that I'm playing because I play for others, and I feel like I want to share myself, but in the end it's a very ego-centered thing. Like I couldn't stop playing violin when I was doubting if I wanted to play, because I wanted to feed my ego in a way. And I think nowadays, especially with what people do with their time, I think people let their egos starve a bit almost. Playing is a reflection of what I hear of, or what I have heard in the past. I think most of my energy in playing comes from playing with people and not being in the practice room. I need to practice, unfortunately, but I think for me the energy mostly I prefer studying the score than maybe practicing and the technical stuff, and that, I mean, it's maybe not the most charming thing, because sometimes that's just what you have to do. But if I have a tough day, I maybe tend to practice more technical stuff. I'm a bit the opposite there. If I have a very light day, I feel free and I feel like I can reflect myself in the music. But bad days, I tend to go back to playing slow and practice that way. I think most of those moments happens off stage. I think a lot of times when we talk about moments that we remember, it's always very positive memories and very beautiful memories. But I think what I also like with especially in chamber music is that there can be so uncomfortable moments in rehearsals. There can be someone having a rough week, there can be someone feeling it so strongly, and you just don't find the common spot in the group, and I think those moments for me can mean a lot, because that's where you move forward in a way, and I think that always brings something. Now I'm back to the positive, but something great, I guess. But I something with those uncomfortable, also socially, like when stuff is uncomfortable, I value that a lot. I think that people don't feed their egos enough with art or with music, and I think it's a nice thought that people go to concerts for themselves and for their own experience. I think it's easy to forget in a way. I think also like it's worth thinking about what you experience putting some sentences together in your head of what you just felt, or that it's yeah, because there's always something there. Impossible to leave without getting a bit shaken in some direction. Mm. Yeah, if I had a big concert or something that took a bit more mentally and physically, I normally tend to crash a bit afterwards. It's with everything I do. If I have a big project, it could be at home. The other week I was just finished this wardrobe in my hall, and after that I'm empty. Like there's no, before the concert I'm like going to sleep and I can't get it out of my head, the music, and then the night after the concert is like no thoughts. It's empty, totally empty. That's a bit special. Also because I'm so used to having this mess of thoughts in my head, and then it's just silence. It's so nice actually. But it can also be a bit scary if it can last for some days. I found this great recordings of Bartok playing Mozart and playing Debussy, and it was just so nice to hear them. And then I thought, I wonder if people heard this. So there was this one question where you asked, like, is there any musician you would like to play with? And then I thought, that's just such a, I just felt it immediately. It was a nice, also because nowadays, I mean, all the composers before Wagner, they all played their own music and they played everyone else's music, and then somehow that got lost. But to play music with a composer that played his own music, played other people's music, he played Bartok, played so much Mozart, and just sounds so fun. Yeah.